Welcome to our parent information briefing for Year 7 parents. Hopefully this presentation by me, Mrs Holness and Mrs Harding, the head teacher, will answer lots of your questions about what's happening at the moment and what's going to happen over Year 7 for your child and for you as a parent. My name's Chris Doherty. I'm one of the two deputy head teachers, and my role really is in charge of assessment and curriculum within the school. Of this sort of presentation, we're going to try and cover lots of areas and give you as much information as quickly as possible. There's lots of dates, etc. on here, but as you go through it, if you need to pause things and put them into either your electronic or paper diaries at home, that might be the best way of doing it. Don't intend to just read through loads of dates, etc. to you. Okay, first of all, I'm going to hand over to Mrs Harding, the head teacher, who's just going to give you a bit of an introduction to the school.
Good evening. For those of you that haven't seen any of the videos before, my name is Mrs Hardingham and I am the head teacher of this amazing school. The first thing that I wanted to talk to you about this evening was just to talk about this particular little diagram here, school, student, parent. This is absolutely fundamental. It's at the heart of how we work and how we want to continue to work with you and your child to support them throughout their 5 years with us, so that they come to us as young boys and girls, and they leave us as young adults ready to fly and embark on the futures of their choice. And if we work in partnership together, communicating well, talking together, and sharing our concerns and our highs and our lows, then that will form the foundation and the basis that will put your child in a position for the best possible future. Dare to dream, aim to achieve. 25 years ago, when this school was established, the original staff and students came up with a motto, and that motto we still live by today. For the past 22 years that I and my deputies have been here, we've been working on developing with the students as they move through the school what this actually means. And if you walk around the school, you will see children who are encouraged to really aim high, to reach for their dreams, that no dream is impossible for them, and our role as adults here is to support them and equip them and provide them with the skills through what we do on a day-to-day basis so that they can achieve those dreams. 6 years ago, when I became the head teacher of the school, I tried to encapsulate that ethos and tried to find some words, some values that summarise exactly what it was that we had been living in the school over the past 22 years. And I chose 3 words: inclusivity, well-being and high expectations. And if you walk around the school, you will see those words in big on our big tall white walls around the mall. Inclusivity. That means you join this school, you are a member of the school community, we call it the ALNS family, and you're in it for life. We don't want anybody to not feel as though they belong and as though they are not part of the school and this school is not theirs. The school is a community of individuals. It isn't a building, it isn't a reputation, and the staff and the students that are in the school, they are Admiral Lord Nelson School, and every single one of those people belongs and is a vital member of our family. Now, well-being is incredibly important, not more so than this in this current year, with all that we face with the COVID pandemic and the changes that your families and your children and we at school have had to face and will continue to face. Making sure that we focus on our physical and our mental well-being, our emotional well-being, and that we support one another and we work together and that we are kind to each other and thoughtful is absolutely essential so that we are in the right place to be able to learn. We need to belong first, and then we need to feel right. And when we're in that right state, then we're in a position to really strive to achieve and to reach those dreams. And that's where our high expectations come in. We have the highest of expectations for each and every student and of ourselves as members of staff as well. We're continually trying to learn, and we're trying to model and work with every single child so that we can help them to really excel in everything that they do, whether that's the things that they really enjoy, that they feel talented in, or whether that is providing new opportunities for them so that they can learn more about themselves and they can grow and thrive academically. Our curriculum is every experience that your child will encounter in their days with us at Admiral Lord Nelson School, whether that is in their lessons or whether that is in the interactions they have with staff at break time and at lunchtime, or whether that is in the extracurricular activities that they take part in, the trips that they go on, the personal development days that we have. And the aims of all of those experiences are to develop them as successful learners so that they learn and understand how they themselves learn and they experience success as well as failure so that they know how to bounce back and how to learn from when things don't go to plan, but so that they know when they leave us, they're able to apply that knowledge of themselves so that they know they can learn anything that they set their minds to. Equally important is that we provide experiences for your child that allows them to develop as an individual, allows them to understand the values, the principles, the things that they have learned from their families and that they learn from their peers, and to experience other viewpoints and other ways of thinking, and to then decide for themselves the sort of individual, the person that they want to be as they grow into becoming a young adult. And we want them to feel confident in the choices that they make about themselves and to have a strong sense of their own identity. Not only is it important, though, that they feel confident in themselves as an individual, but it's also important that they understand how to be part of a team, how to be a citizen in society, whether that is how to be part of a family and to deal with the compromise and the support that is needed when you're part of a family group, whether that is in a classroom, when they're working in teams academically, whether that is as part of society in their local community, nationally, or even globally. And we put a great deal of time, provide a lot of experiences within our tutor program, within our personal development program, to develop and promote that aim. One of the key things that underpins our curriculum that's absolutely crucial to everything that we do is our commitment to UNICEF, to being a rights respecting school. And from the outset, your child will be taught about the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, and that every child is born with those rights, and those rights cannot be taken away. And our responsibility as a society is to ensure that those rights are delivered for every child, wherever they are in the world, and that we respect children throughout the world. And so for the last 6 years or so, we have held the top award, Gold Rights Respecting School Award, and we make sure that commitment and that learning is fundamental to everything that we do and forms part of the ethos of our school.
Hello, for those of you that haven't seen the other videos, I'm Katie Holness, the Assistant Head Teacher with responsibility for student achievement. So this first slide is probably one that you want to press pause on. It's some of the events that we will be putting on for you over this year. In a normal year, we'd have a nice welcome disco and various other events. Bit more limited this year, but you will see there a parents' evening, you will see a mentoring day, which are all opportunities for us to give you information on how your child is progressing and where you can be helping them along their way. And you'll also see that you get grade sheets sent to you every term as well, so you can keep a close eye on how things are going. Number of other bits of information just to help you with your organisation. You'll see there 4 inset days spread throughout the year, and there's 2 important dates there of early finishes. So a 2 p.m. finish at the end of December for the Christmas holidays, and similarly an early finish at the end of July for the summer holidays. I would suggest you might want to press pause and just put those dates into your electronic or paper diaries, whichever you choose to use. Number of non-school uniform days, always useful to know these in advance before your children tell you the night before that they need a new outfit to wear. So again, I would suggest press pause and jot those into your diaries. Each of those are raising money for various either in-school, out-of-school, national, international charities, and will always advertise for you what we are raising money for. And then we have the personal development days here. So personal development days are about extending the students' learning, enriching their experiences at school, and just letting them learn a little bit about the world outside of themselves. So you'll see there's a variety of different days there at different opportunities for them to do. You can see there Harry Potter STEM Day, so Science and Technology Day. We do a Right to Play Day that some of your students might have actually been involved in when they were in Year 5. We've got a Looking After You Day, a trip to Boulogne, fingers crossed, etc, etc. So again, what I would do is put those into your diary having pressed pause to jot them down. If you look at this slide, you'll see that what I want to talk to you next is attendance. And obviously at the moment, it's very difficult to make any definite rules about when students can attend and when they can't attend, due to obviously needing to think about the current COVID situation. But above all else, it's really important to understand that attendance and engaging in learning is absolutely crucial for children to be the best that they can be and to progress and get the best grades at the end of the day that they can, and also to have the best experiences of school that they can. So what we do ask is that you as a family really do focus on your child attending school absolutely all the time that they are able to do so, and when they are unable to do so, and sometimes that is going to happen perhaps this year more than it would most years, you are engaging in the online learning that we have been informing you about. So looking at the Google Classroom, looking at homework on Show My Homework and so on, and just continuing to keep that learning ticking along, even if it is unfortunately the case that you are not in the building. But by and large, obviously, and in a normal year, what we would ask is that your child comes to school all of the time, and certainly we aim for above 97% attendance would be excellent attendance, and we would certainly hope that most students should be able to achieve 95% attendance. That is 10 days of lost learning across the year. So even though it's 95, that sounds really, really good, it is still 10 days of lost learning, and students at that point are going to likely achieve most of their target grades, but in fact anything below that, and it does start having a significant impact on potential outcomes. So the message really to give you at the moment about attendance, and as I say, I'm particularly conscious that this is a difficult time to be thinking about attendance and focusing on that sort of thing. The messages at the moment is come to school absolutely whenever you possibly can. Hopefully that will be all of the time. Where it is impossible to do so, perhaps you're waiting for a family member to do a COVID test or similar situation, then what you can be doing is still engaging in your learning, still taking part, still learning by using our online resources and learning in a virtual way. These are the grades and the grade descriptors that we use to identify your child's attitude to their learning. So if you like, effort grades, I suppose, in an easier way to understand it. And I'd particularly like to draw your attention to the B grade here, because yes, it's excellent, absolutely outstanding where students get A's, but actually a B is still absolutely worth celebrating. A B is where your child has done absolutely everything we would ask of them. They're wanting to improve their work, they're making good choices about their learning, they're applying lots of effort, and they're taking responsibility for their own learning and moving themselves on. A's, absolutely outstanding. These are the students who are just going that little bit further, being particularly proactive in terms of increasing their progress, just delving a bit deeper into their learning, making really, really good choices about how to be the best they can be. And then obviously we don't want to talk too much about them, but if there are C or even D grades, we do need to be thinking about what we can do to just change that mindset and get your child back on track so that they can be absolutely daring to dream, aiming to achieve and reaching those high levels that we want them to be doing. Thinking about rewards next then, we are a school who absolutely really focus on rewards. We like to be recognising the children's achievements, both in terms of how well they do and how hard they've tried, as often as we possibly can. And sometimes those awards will be just a private celebratory sort of well done in somebody's ear, and just quietly saying to them, you've done really well, really impressed with that, note on a book, that sort of thing. But we also do like to do public celebration of praise, and you can see there all of the things that we do. So we award praise points using our computer system. You'll be able to see those on the Insight system. We do every lesson, we award a star student to the person who's really gone for it during the lesson. You'll see again on the Insight system, you'll be able to see each day if your child's been awarding star student in one of their subjects. If their work is worthy of coming to the attention of the head teacher, they get a head teacher commendation. At the end of the term, merits are awarded or rolls of honour in various subjects, and you might receive a postcard home. And then really highly coveted is Hot Choc Friday, where a student from each house each week is selected to have hot chocolate with Mrs. Hardingham in her office and just talk about their lives, what they're up to, and it's a bit of a getting to know each other session, which is a really, really lovely way to end the week. Moving on from the good bits though, we do always have to have the negatives, the less good bits that do have to be there. And so it's important to let you know about our detention system. So we are a school that uses detentions to try to get the students, if perhaps they have erred from the path we would like them to be on, it is a chance to get them back on track in terms of perhaps it might be behaviour, it might be them being a little bit late to lessons or whatever, not having equipment, getting organised. All detentions are aimed at trying to change things and get students back on the correct path. Often the opportunity is taken to catch up on work missed for whatever reason, to have a little bit of extra time with a teacher who can go through things that perhaps they're not understanding, and so on. So detention time is used wisely, but they do need to happen. So 3 levels of detention, so you can see there on the slide, either curriculum level detention, so that would take place in the curriculum area. So for example, a humanities detention or an English detention or a maths detention, they will be set by your child's class teacher for that subject, or by the head of the subject. House detention will come from your child's head of house, and they are a once a week detention, 60 minutes. And then for the really big misdemeanours, and I have to say Year 7s have virtually never get to this point, but it is worth just putting out there so that you're clear. For the bigger misdemeanours, there is a head teacher detention, which is 90 minutes on a Friday after school, so one the students certainly try to avoid.
So, on to expectations and pride. Now, what we try to do is make it really explicit on how we want books laid out and the best way to do it. So, really clear that if the work is laid out, shows pride, they put their best effort into it, then that's going to be really useful for them to refer back to in the future. So in the front of each book, you should see the following sticker. And I would ask, whenever possible, it's a really good idea to actually flick through the books with them. Most of the time, students will have their exercise books and they take them to and from school. They own the books, this is their work, and the only times really they'll be in school is when they're being assessed and marked. Just a couple of examples there of some great pieces of work, and the way it works would be, if it's an assessed piece of work, the student would be writing in blue or black, and you can see here quite a neat piece of work. Then the sticker's been put on there and the teacher is writing to the student in purple, looking at what went well and how they could possibly improve it. And then in the next lesson, what would happen is students would use a pink pen to improve upon that work, so responding to the teacher's feedback. In terms of homework, we use a program called Show My Homework, and you will be sent the login details to this within the next week. I'll talk more about login details right at the end. So each week, students are set a small amount, usually Year 7s, it's about 30-40 minutes worth per subject, and teachers will indicate on there when the deadlines are, and parents can download the Show My Homework app or use it online version from the school website, and students can have that as well. It really helps to organise it, and they can see what tasks they owe and when they're due. So it should help them to manage it and become self-managers, but obviously as Year 7s they'll probably need your support to start with. But we'll start off lightly with that. And Accelerated Reader is a program, because what we don't want is students to stop reading regularly. That's one of the key things that all successful people academically do. So we need them to carry on reading. An Accelerated Reader, they read a book, they do a little comprehension assessment, and then it tells them what level to go to next. So it's not in a way like junior schools and primary schools sometimes had, you went from yellow to blue to purple scheme. This actually, if you're reading quite regularly and you're flying through it, it'll always set you books and move you on to books that you'll find a challenge to help your reading age keep improving. So any encouragement on reading, any rewards at home that can be built around, well, if you do your reading this week, you can do this, etc. They're really appreciated, and that will make a massive difference across the board. They need that comprehension of language when they get to the age of 16, just to be able to access exams and for their own futures. In terms of assessment, what we normally do is we set out target grades for the end of Year 11. So we actually set targets, and I'll just highlight that. So here with the Year 11, we set a target grade based upon how they've started the school. And what we normally have at this stage is we have their Key Stage 2 results, but this year we don't. So we're going to leave that for a while. We're going to let them settle in and catch up. We're going to let them get back into their learning habits, and then what we'll do is we'll have a look and will work out exactly where they should be aiming to get to by the end of school, and we'll set that as their target grade. Now, the grades are different, and I would suggest that most parents receive letter grades. So there's just a table here if you want to pause. Those are the new GCSE grades that came in 3 or 4 years ago. A grade 4 is what an old-fashioned grade C was, and a grade 5 is the top of a C and the bottom of a B. But it's worth just having a look at these if you're not familiar with them, so you know what they mean when they do come through on reports. And this is a typical of a termly grade sheet. So this is one from last year in April. So April last year we sent this out, and this child here, they were supposed to be getting a grade 5 in maths. That was their target that they would reach by the end of school. And this O here means they were on target for it. They are on target here for their science. That means they're working hard and doing well. They're on target for their media. They're above target in their geography. So what that means is the A here, they're above target. They're actually showing that the assessments are meaning they're going to get higher than a grade 4 in geography by the time they finish school. And here in French, they're below target. So as a parent looking at this, you probably want to have a chat with your child about the below after you've given them loads of praise for being on target and above target, and then just what else could we do to help you in French? Is there anything I need to contact the school about? Maybe it's a quick email to the French teacher, etc., and try and tackle things as they come up. Now, in terms of reporting to you, we send you the grade sheets every term, and we send you written learning targets. So we try and write down exactly where we think they'd be best off spending their time, little things to improve on to help them progress. But actually, we have this website called ALNS Insight, and you'll be sent log-on details to this as well. So I'm just going to flick through a few slides. Within Insight, it will show your child. If you have more than one child at the school, you won't need a new login. If you've already got a child in other year groups, your year 7 children will just be added onto that. And within there, what you can do is you can see, I'm just going to make sure the pen's still working. So over here is today. If you logged in today, you could actually see that they've gone to all 5 lessons and been registered. If you wanted to, you could sit there at home and watch them at 9:30 arrive in a lesson and be registered. You can look at their achievements, so the positives. Every time they're given, as Miss Holness was talking about, a positive reward, it's given points. So you look at how many points they've achieved. It may be that they come home from school and you say, oh, well done in history today, because you've been on Insight and you've seen what they're doing. Now, there's no pressure from us to how often you go on here or how often you look at it, but the more involved you are in what they're doing and how well they're doing, the more engaged they'll be, the more excited they'll be by it, the more they'll try to impress you and the more pride they'll take in it. So there's no pressure from us to, you must go on here every week or anything like that. But actually, if you can have a check on it now and again, it's great to look at it. Some people like it as a bit of a stalking tool as well. So like I say, it shows the timetable, it shows their awards. This child, over this period of time, today they got 2 points. This week they got 4. So far this term they got 39, for example, and overall they're 135. In terms of negative behaviours, none this week or today, 1 this term, and over the whole of time 15. So obviously this child is doing really well at school, loads of positives and a few little negatives now and again that you'll be able to see what the reasons for on Insight. When you log out of Insight on your computer at home, that's what the door shows, how you exit. And here, as I said, this parent had 2 children, so you don't need 2 separate logins, you just have to flick between the 2, especially if you're comparing your children. You get the full attendance access on there, so you can see what marks we have for them. It may be that we've made a mistake and we've got them recorded down as away for a day, or vice versa, or we've got them as late and you might want to ask us, oh, what time did they arrive, were they late? And what you'll need is you'll need a username and a login, and we will be sending that to you in the post within the next week. The school website is a central place that we use to communicate loads of the information. So actually, within the parent section up here at the top on the school website, when you scroll down on that, it's got a login to show my homework. You can go there for that, and it's got a place there you go to Insight to get all those grades and the information and attendance. But actually, the school website's really useful looking at the news. So all the recent newsletters, anything we're doing. Over on this side here, we have the upcoming events, and over this side here, all the latest news stories. So a central point where hopefully you can find everything you need. And on top of that, once a week, you'll be emailed a bulletin. Just shows you what's happening in the week ahead, so that things don't surprise you. Also on the school website, there's an ESafety area, and with links to this. So as they get a bit older, they'll have their own mobile phones. Eventually, at 13, hopefully, they will get Instagram and Facebook accounts, and it's really risky. A lot of the resources on here, from COPS and Think You Know, etc., are about skilling the parents up, because sometimes the students who use these apps and devices all the time are really good at them, and the parents feel a little bit out of it. However, some parents are experts on this as well. What all of them suggest is that you are regularly, as a parent, checking your child's phone, checking the messages they've sent, checking what they're receiving, and making sure they're using it appropriately. We found that even, in the case of our own children, even the best students make mistakes occasionally. I think they quite like the fact that somebody's there looking at what they're doing and offering them guidance and support, so they don't end up putting themselves in a sticky position. And really just thank you for watching. Going back to this, over the next 5 years, the school working with you to do the best and help them achieve their potential, so they can dare to dream, aim to achieve, and leave school proud of what they've done. Now, I know you're going to be meeting with tutors in a Zoom meeting if possible, so they can introduce themselves. And then in the next week, we'll be sending you the Insight login and the Show My Homework details. So you'll have the logins for those. And on the school, when you're sent those, there'll also be the links to the help sheets explaining how they work. Hopefully you'll find them quite self-explanatory, but if you don't, you're welcome to contact the admin team and get support. Okay, thank you very much for watching.